Also want to give a shout out to the local businesses that donated the food tonight. That is Skinner's, Tiffany's, and Altera. Thank you so much to those businesses. Please shop local, support local businesses. All right, so this is the agenda here tonight, as you can all see. We'll keep it very brief and short, and we'll make sure that we're done by 7:30 so we can get back to all the fun activities. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to run us through the Highland District Council, just so everyone knows who we are and what we do and why we do it. And then we'll get into some updates from our elected officials. We're so glad that you're here as well. And then we'll also go into introducing some of the at-large candidates. And then we'll get back to the fun stuff. All right, so for those of you that don't know what the Highland District Council is, we are technically an independent nonprofit. We are a 501c3 that contracts with the city of St. Paul to get our funding. What that means, though, is that the vast majority of us who are involved in the Highland District Council, if you volunteer for the Highland District Council, do you mind raising your hand? Amazing. Thank you all for volunteering. So the Highland District Council is comprised of many volunteers and 2 paid staff. So we are a small organization, and we contract with the city to get our funding. So that's who we are, and officially we serve as the neighborhood body that gets all of the information from the neighbors. We disperse the information as well that comes from the city. We try to keep everyone up to date on what's going on in the neighborhood, and we serve as like that communication pathway between the neighborhood and the city. And so just to get into a little bit more detail about who we are and what we do have a mission statement, and our mission is to foster opportunities for those that live, work, play, and learn in Highland Park, and to engage and connect with the neighbors, the businesses, the local government, and build a more vibrant, welcoming, and accepting and safe neighborhood. So in terms of what that actually means and what we do, though, we do 2 things. We listen to you all as neighbors, and we advocate on behalf of your needs and what you care about, and we relay that to our city partners, our stakeholders, our local businesses, and anyone really that has an important role to play in Highland Park. And to give even more detail, I won't go over this entire slide because we do have to stick to the 30 minutes, but you can see the variety of things that we do within the Highland District Council. We make recommendations to the City Council. We have events where we bring the community together. If you've ever been to one of our Highland Bridge concert events, those are so much fun. And we get to do that through the volunteer work and everyone coming in, and it just becomes a blast. So that just gives a smaller preview of all the work that we do. And as part of that work and ways to get involved with the Highland District Council is that we have 3 committees. We have the Transportation Committee, which is focused primarily on providing input to the city on issues that impact pedestrians, bicyclists, and drivers as well. And all of these 3 committees meet once a month. So if you're at all interested in learning more about these issues, or joining one of the committee members, or just popping in to say hi and learn more, please reach out to one of the volunteers. You can find me, and I'll be glad to give you more information. We also have our Community Engagement Committee, which is focused on events for our neighbors. So they do a lot of the heavy lifting of putting on events like this one, our Highland Bridge concert series, and a bunch of other events that focus on engaging with our community. And then our last committee is the Development Committee, which, like the name suggests, is focused on advocating on behalf of the neighbors who want to develop in their neighborhood, businesses who want to bring their business here, and learning more about all the different developments that are also impacting the neighborhood. So the reason that we're here is that we have our annual meeting, and traditionally our annual meeting is when we kick off our elections for our board members. So there's a map here of all of our grids. I think you all seen it. You all have seen it walking in, and we have 1 grid representative for each grid, and we kick off the voting process tonight. So we're going to open up 10 days of voting. Please scan the QR codes that are on your table if you'd like to vote. And the voting will dictate who joins the full board. And as you can tell right here, we've got 18 board members. Those are comprised of the 12 grids, the 4 at-large seats, and the 2 business reps. You also don't need to run if you want to get involved with the Highland District Council. You saw a huge slew of hands of people who were volunteering, so if you're at all interested, don't feel like you have to run and sign up for this commitment. You can come to one of our meetings, you can volunteer an event, it's very low commitment.
5 days for the election. 5 days.
Thank you, Gabby. Open for 5 days. So we've got the QR code here. Again, you all have it, so make sure you scan it and get your vote in before it closes in 5 days. All right, so that's all I have, just on a very brief explanation of what Highland District Council is. What I'd like to do now, though, is if you are running for a position on the board, would you mind coming up here so we can do a very quick intro of who you are and what position you're running for? All right, so we're going to do this very quickly, again, because we're having a lot of fun. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pass the mic around, and I'd love for everyone to just introduce yourself very briefly, your name, and what group you're running for.
Thank you, Kevin. My name is John Kennedy. I am the current rep for Grid 3, and I'm running for re-election to Grid 3.
I'm Lindsay. I am currently a rep at large, but I'm going to be running for my personal Grid 7. I get to represent my neighborhood again.
Yay!
Hello, my name is Carl or Charles. I'm running for the grade 5 representing seats.
I'm Wolfie Groliver. I'm running for Grid 1. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Wade Olson. I live in Grid 6, which is not up for election this year, so I'm running for at-large.
Good evening, I'm Brad Ballinger, and I'm also running for Grid 5.
Hi everyone, my name is Casey Ulrich. I've been on the board since 2023, and I'm running for an at-large position, so I look forward to chatting with you later.
Good evening, folks. My name is Adam Martel, and I'm running to represent Grid 9. I'm Frank Chauncey, and I'm running for an at-large position.
All right, thank you, candidates, for running. We've got the tables numbered by grade, so if you want to come say hi to these candidates, you know where to find them. Yes, if there's at large, you actually have to legal to all the tables.
Say yes,
so
I know.
get your steps in. All right, we're going to transition now to hearing from more important people than me, which are our elected officials. So we've got 3 amazing elected officials with us here tonight, and we're going to get to hear from them tonight. So first, we're going to start with our award grade update from City Council Member Jost.
Thank you, everybody. I don't know that I can agree that I'm more important than Kevin, but thank you so much for the introduction. My name is Sarah Jost. I'm really proud to be the council member that represents everyone here in Ward 3. It's been such a fantastic experience over the past year. I want to take a moment to recognize my staff that's here tonight, Tom Bastian. So we know who the most popular person in the room is now. And then I also have, many of you have probably spoken with Marlon, my other staff member that handles a lot of our communication. So we wouldn't be able to get all this work done without them, so thank you. And I want to just talk a little bit about what we've been doing this past year. So in the first year, there were 3 really big things that we worked on. So one of the first items that our office was the lead sponsor on was the franchise fee agreement modification. So franchise fees are, this one was through Excel. It's what we charge when they use the right of way for their infrastructure and wires and conduits and things like that. And we basically were not allowed to collect those franchise fees in the winter months. But thanks to our partners at the state legislature, I know I saw Representative Pinto somewhere, Representative Collins, all of our delegation, they unlocked the state law for us so that we could collect those fees in the winter months. So we carried forward legislation to be able to collect those fees in the months of April until the agreement runs out next year. And we're taking that money and we're using it to invest in climate action, particularly in weatherizing homes and electrifying them, and especially with a focus on lower income homes. So we passed that last year. We're anticipating being able to collect $2 million per year to be able to fund those efforts. The second thing that I worked on in the budget process is the library board share was securing about $2 million for investments in our libraries, which we're really proud of. It was in partnership with the Friends of the Library, with our Mayor Carter and a lot of staff and the library board director. That money is going to $1 million to 3 transforming libraries projects. One, the Highland Midway Library, Riverview Library, and King Heights, which are all really important to make sure the library can continue delivering the essential services that our residents rely on every day. And other funding is going to additional library materials, and then also to safety improvements. It's actually safety aid to the Ronville Library. And the last thing that we worked on that was a major piece of legislation that we led alongside Council Vice President Kim and as well as former Council President Jalali was administrative citations. And those are basically a tool for when our ordinances are not being followed that we have that is more appropriate, because right now we have education or we have criminal citation. And so we need something in between that can allow us to uphold the ordinances that really carry a lot of values of our city. So whether it's earned sick and safe time, or minimum wage, or a land stabilization ordinance, wage theft, all very important things that we care about. So we were bound to carry that forward. And so this year, one of our big focuses, a top priority, is advancing developments across our city, and specifically Highland Bridge. And this is very important to us because I know a lot of people in this room spent, over a decade on this vision, and we want to do everything we can to make sure we live up to that vision that we all care about so much. And particularly, we want to be, building all of the amazing housing and commercial properties that we desperately need at that site and in our city. Because we know that housing, and especially affordable housing, are one of the top priorities that we hear about from our residents. And then as well as being able to expand our property tax base so that we can lower the property tax burden for our residents, for our property owners, and everyone, to be able to provide more long-term, fiscal reliability for our city. So that's a big thing we're working on. One of the big steps in that is an amendment to the rent stabilization ordinance that our office is leading, which would provide a point-in-time exemption for new construction after the end of 2004. And we held a public hearing on that yesterday. The public comment is actually open right now, so I encourage folks to send in your public comment. I've got business cards I can hand out, you can send them into our office, you can send them into the main council email, and you can get your comments attached to the public record. And then the other thing that is a big priority for us this year is the new West 7th Street. It was formerly Riverview, and I know Commissioner Ortega is here. He's on somewhere. I want to thank him for decades of work on Riverview, and that was really important to understanding, having everyone's input. It was a huge project, really complex, that the community cares about so much. We've held 3 community meetings this week. There was just one earlier today, so I encourage everyone to reach out to us with your feedback on West 7th. We're trying to come up with a name that's not really my strength, so if anyone has a cool name to call it, we're all ears. Oh, you got an idea? Street. Okay. So the other thing we're working on, I mentioned the franchise fee legislation from last year. We do have some challenges right now in the federal government with getting some of the money we were hoping for with climate action. But with the negotiation of the franchise fee agreement that will start later this year and next year, we will have an opportunity to be able to, at the local level, hopefully collect more funding to continue that work until we can hopefully get more funding at higher levels of government. And so we're really looking forward to continuing that. That's a major partnership with myself and Russ Stark, who works in the mayor's office, and really looking forward to that. I have a lot of climate action initiatives that are a big part of the work we'll be doing this year. And lastly, I just want to thank the Highland District Council, volunteers, everyone that stepped up to run our partnership with the Highland District Council, and Kathy and Kevin and all of you is something that we really value and is really essential to our work, and to be able to understand what the community cares about, making sure your voices are heard, and that we know about the things that are happening in the neighborhood. And so one of the items that we'll be bringing forth this budget cycle is more investment into the district councils for next year, to honor that, how much we value that partnership, and hopefully that can continue for a long time. So thank you so much to everyone tonight, and we'll be around for a little bit if you have any more questions.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Joseph. We're keeping an eye on that increased funding for sure. I would like to welcome County Commissioner Ortega. Please come on up and give us an update.
Thank you very much, Kathy and Kevin. I really appreciate the partnership I've had over the years with the Highland Council. It's been a very great relationship in terms of the communications and the back and forth and working so many projects over the years that we've had in Highland. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. My assistant Ken also is back there, and many of you probably talk to him more than you talk to me, he's here to help answer any questions in the event that you can't get to me. But anyway, I'll start off maybe with a little bit of a down, and that is we got to prepare because we are facing some serious shortfalls coming forward, both from the state and from the federal government. We're still trying to assess that. We don't know, quite frankly, where the targets are in the federal government. But we know Medicaid is already going to take some very sharp hits, both at the state and the federal level. And of course, post-COVID, we, the Ramsey County, have had a 40% increase in people in need, especially for healthcare. And I was sitting with the back here, I didn't get that name, but he works at the Festa, and we were just talking about this very issue. A large portion of the people he sees are Medicare or medical assistance folks who he said wouldn't even be able to come to the clinic. So we're facing some issues. I just want to let you know that the county board we're already working on various scenarios. We're trying to get a fix on how big the damage is going to be, so we can take the appropriate steps. We also know that we can't keep putting the burden on the taxpayers on property tax. We at the county have done I think a very good job in the last 10 years. We've been the lowest tax rate in the entire metro area. We've had several years of zero, and until recently, we've been as high as 4 and 5%. That was post-COVID. I bring these issues up because I want you to understand that all the government agencies are going to be facing some very serious and painful issues. And we're going to need your understanding and your cooperation as we address these. On the good side, for Ramsey County, we've got a lot of good news. We've got so many things going on. Let me begin with TCAP. TCAP is the old ammunition dump. Not dump, I call it a dump. It was a dump when we bought it. It was the largest Superfund site in the state, 500 acres. And several years ago, I led the effort to buy that, and we cleaned it up. And we were ready to develop, but we ran into some issues over affordable housing, and it delayed that. But I'm happy to say we're on the verge of signing a contract with Ryan Companies, and we're going to begin developing 50 acres of 500 acres into mixed use. For Ramsey County is important. We're a fully developed county. Unlike the counties around us, we have no green space. We got to clean up our polluted land. We got to clean up our ground and develop that. That's where we have a growth. And the whole point of it is to make sure that we alleviate the burden of property tax owners. We are very conscious of the fact that, on the one hand, in the last couple of years, Ramsey County was not in the housing business, but we've invested close to $100 million in the last 2 or 3 years in affordable housing, countywide. Because the need is there, and there's so much behind. But we cannot continue to burden our property tax rates, and we need to expand our tax rates. And so we're committed, and our target is countywide is to clean up as much of the brown space and begin developing that. In terms of the another, I don't know if you've heard, but we built a new environmental center in Roseville, and we're going to have a huge fix-it clinic there. I don't know how many of you are aware of the fix-it clinic. But if you have any type of product, whether it's a vacuum cleaner or a radio, whatever it is, a computer, instead of throwing it away or buying a new one, it's free of charge when you can fix it clinic. And we fix it. Along with that, that would be our site for various other activities where you could bring some of your refuse and so forth. So I urge you to look at our website and take advantage of all the services we're going to promote out of that service center. The other good news is the Union Depot, the Borealis train. The Union Depot is now thriving very much. It's probably the only thing that's really doing very well in Lower Town. Lower Town is, I invested a lot of time in Lower Town when I first got elected. When I first got elected, it was just an area that had very little housing and very little businesses. The Union Depot was a catalyst to spurring all that activity, which we lost during COVID, and unfortunately continue to lose. But the Borealis train is now averaging at a minimum 10,000 folks coming through the depot every month. We surpass expectations. We've reached the expectation of what the ridership might be in the year was achieved within 4 months. And it is a huge success, and it's really making the Union Depot buzz along with the new bookstore which I gotta admit I had my doubts, but it's tremendously successful. We had the new restaurant 1881, which is managed by Red Domo Inc. And the owners are ecstatic. They've expanded their hours, and they're not going to be there, morning to evening, 7 days a week. It's just been fantastic. The coffee shop is doing great. Mr. Wall, Choo Choo Bar is in there, and that's a huge hit. A lot of kids all over the place. It's really buzzing. So that's a real plus, especially for that part of the city. We got to make sure that it's a balanced approach, right? That all parts of the city are doing well. It's just not about our neighborhood, it's about our city and our county. So those are some of the highlights. I keep on going. We have the opening of the gold mine that just happened a couple of weeks ago. Ramsey County has worked on that for 10 years. And that's the quick skyway from Woodbury to the Union Depot. And that's been a huge success. It's already doing very well. It's another sense of mobility. I'm kind of starting to quit. I have to keep going, but there's a whole list of activities. But thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you so much for those updates. You're right. There's a lot of fun stuff coming up, and thank you so much for being playing a huge role in that. So thank you. Now let's hear it for our state representative, Dave Pinson.
So
I'm your state representative if you live in Highland, which I'm assuming you all do, because that's why you're here. I live southeast Estonia, and also grade 4. I work outside the legislature as a prosecutor for Ramsey County, so shout out to our county commissioner and the work that's done in the county. I'll say that at the legislature, things are very complicated. We're in a tie in the Minnesota House, very close margins in the Minnesota Senate, trying to pass a 2-year budget. All kinds of things I could talk about. I guess I'll just say, please do feel free to be in touch about state issues and things that you're thinking about. The best way to do that is to send me an email. I'm extremely Googleable. You can just go right on there, send me an email. I see the email myself, which means that I might give you a really good reply. If I don't, maybe I just got buried, so then send me another email. If you have to, then another one, or call my legislative assistant, whatever you got to do. But the point is, if you want to talk, you're my bosses. I have 40,000 bosses. It's a little complicated, but you are one of them, so feel free to reach out. So I can talk about all kinds of things in the state. I won't say too much about that. But we'll just go, for a country that was founded on the U.S., a suspicion of government, we have a lot of levels and layers of government, right? We've got the federal, we don't have Betty McCollum here, and our senators. You got your state representative, State Senator Aaron Murphy. We've got our county commissioner, who you've heard from, and our council member, fabulous people that they are. And there's Med Council, et cetera, et cetera. And that's all good to know about. And the sort of the lowest level that's closest to our neighborhoods and our community, it's not exactly level of government, but so connected to it, is our district council. So I started off on our district council. I was actually the chair of the community development committee. I was absolutely, yeah, so I did that. And was there for a couple of years. So I just want to say thank you so much to the people who are running for your grid positions. Thanks to those who've served on the council. I was part of the group that hired our fabulous executive director, Kathy Cruz. Can we give her a round of applause? Kathy, back in the day. So I just really want to thank the folks who are doing this work, and then all of us being involved in this, because this level of community building is like closest to our community, right? At this district council level. I just think it's such a wonderful aspect of St. Paul, and Minneapolis has its own version, that's fine too, that we have this in our communities, and so let's just be really grateful for that. So again, feel free to be in touch with me anytime. I'm so glad to be with you tonight, and let's move on to the elections and festivities. Thanks.
All right, that's pretty much it for our agenda. So before I let you all go having a lot more fun, just a few reminders. Please vote in our elections. They have now kicked off. Scan the QR code to cast your ballots. We've got plenty of food available, so please eat the food. Please also purchase beverages and have some water as well. And the last thing that I will note here is we've got a whole bunch of folks in the back. We've got different tables set up. Those are for the